Alright, so the nice thing about crochet is it is a lot more forgiving than knitting when it comes to making the foundation. I did a sample of the pattern you're working on right now, and I just happened to crochet up a multiple of 5 plus 4, which was not my intention. I was just going willy-nilly because I wanted to demonstrate this. So this is where I started my foundation chain. This is the slip knot that I started with. Sorry, I don't have a fancier camera than this, and I figured it would be easier for me to show you rather than type this out and try to get my thought across. But basically, the chain stitch is basically a really loose slip knot. So we can go ahead and take this out. I'm going to try and focus. Or not. But you can just take out the back slip stitch, and then just take out the back slip stitch. Nothing real fancy. Depending on your yarn, that might be harder to do. Like if it's a single ply, those have a tendency to really grab onto each other because of the nature of how yarn is spun up. But then so I took out the slip stitch back there, and then you just pull it tight again after you've pulled out all of the stitches you want to pull out. And now I'm down to 2 instead of 3. And you can do that again. Or before you would tighten it, you would just continue to pull out the end until you got to the number you wanted, which in this case is 3. Now, this is a really forgiving pattern, so you don't actually have to worry about how many chains exactly is in between each of these shells. But I would definitely, if you want to be really precise about it, or you needed to be really precise about it, I would count how many chains you have in between each, just to make sure that you haven't skipped any, or anything like that. But yeah, you can just undo the back end of it over here and then pull out however many until you get to where you need to be, and then they won't be a problem anymore. I can also open this little stitch up and add a few more chains in if I need to, because I have a really good grasp and understanding as to the structure of the chain stitch, because again, it's basically just a really loose slip stitch. So you could open that back up, loop it back into its spot, and then pull it tight, and it would become another chain stitch if you were missing like 1 or 2. But of course, while we want about probably a 6-inch tail so that you can sew in later, that might not be very helpful. So my rule of thumb is always to chain more than you need to if you're even like questioning, oh, did I make enough chains like to begin with, because you rather have more at the end than less, because you can always very easily take away.